Ladies and gentlemen, we do thank you very much for your attention, and now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the
Welcome to our top travel destinations. I am your host, Kevin Flanagan. I have been editor of the weekly travel news column in the Sunday Independent and the Fine Wine and Food Guide, and I am here to use my decades of experience to help you know exactly where to stay, eat, drink, shop, and explore when visiting the world's top travel destinations. So sit back and enjoy the wonders of travel as we take off on our magical journey together. Welcome to Kevin's Top Travel Destinations, and it is with great pleasure that I bring you a live podcast from Abruzzo in Italy. I'm sitting right next to one of my oldest and dearest friends, Spencer Power. We've been staying in his wonderful villa in Abruzzo with the two grandkids, Kuba and Maya, who many of you know. And what I really wanted to do, so many people I know, and it's so live that you can actually hear the cat sneezing next to us. We've got a very contented cat. What's the name of that cat, Spencer?
Mimi.
Mimi's had a couple of kids and is sort of smiling at us. What I really thought would be interesting is Spen and myself grew up in London. And now it's great to meet up 60 years later. We're still good friends. And Spen has done something that I really have to say I'm blown away by. He has a home in London where he has a fantastic design business. He's a wonderful artist. But now he's got this incredible home in Abruzzo. And like many of my friends, and they say, come over. And you delay. But finally, I came over with the grandkids after seeing Spen's painting exhibition in London, and we have had an absolute ball. So, Spencer, tell me a little bit about why you have set up a second home like so many people would love in this delightful part of Italy. Firstly, where is Abruzzo?
Well, Abruzzo is we fly to Pescara to make it easy for people to understand, courtesy of Ryanair. And Pescara is sort of due east of Rome on the Adriatic coast. We drive southwest from Pescara, 45 minutes, to get to what is the end of the Apennine Mountains. We have the Maiella Mountains right in front of the house, a fantastic view which changes constantly and is a huge inspiration for an artist like me.
Well, I have to say, it's incredible where you've settled. From the back of your house, you see those mountains. What are those mountains called?
The Maiella Mountains.
The Maiella Mountains. And then we took a 25-minute drive yesterday with the grandkids, and we arrived at the seaside.
Indeed. You can get to the seaside in 25 minutes to a place called Fossa Cesia, which is a pebble beach with quite wild waves, not really for the children. But we drove 15 minutes further north to a lovely beach in Ortona, which is sandy, shallow, and perfect for the children. Yesterday, we were making sandcastles.
And what we've also been making, because Spen has a most incredible life here. So what we've been making, and the grandkids have been making, is focaccia with the olive oil that Spen has in his garden. And we've been drinking his olive leaf tea, which is very good, which Spen grows. And his good wife, Bimbi, makes the most fantastic Italian dishes, not just Italian dishes. But what I really loved, as we were driving and we went to the local village, there's a project there which we'll talk about at the end, Spen was greeting everybody as if he was an absolute local. So tell us a little bit about what it's like and how long have you been here?
Well, we've been here for 20 years. Quite obviously, to us anyway, it seemed the only way that you get on in an area is that you join in with the locals, you become part of the local. Bimbi is fluent. My Italian is not so good, but I try my hardest. We've never tried to change what is here. We've always wanted to be part of what is here.
Right. Well, you've very definitely succeeded in that. When we arrived here, tell us a little bit about what this place was like 20 years ago and why did you buy it and what you've done to it in the meantime.
We didn't really have a plan. We found ourselves here. That's a completely and different long story. But once we saw this house and we had an opportunity to buy it, the circumstances in London enabled us to do that. But we found it all too easy, in a sense, because of our interior design experience, to see how the house would look. And we've worked very hard to put our stamp on it. It's a mix of antique and modern ideas. We're both very keen on colour, excitement, and it's our home. It reflects our opinions and life.
Well, all I can say is when myself and the grandkids arrived late, it took a whole day to get here, but it was so worth it. And Spen showed us in, and I wasn't sure what to expect. You have holiday homes in Ireland, which would be quite sort of basic, but this was like a palace. And Spen led us up after this wonderful pasta meal in this beautifully appointed kitchen. He led us up to our own sort of wing of the house where the grandkids had their own room, I had my own room, our own bathroom. All the actual details were just of the highest standard you'd find in a 5-star hotel. And I was just blown away by and all his art, Spen's art and the artifacts. The place is like, a Versace palace without it being that sort of bling bling yuck.
I should hope so.
Yes.
Well, no, we've got lots of space. We've always would have a home that has lots of pictures. I admit that a lot of the pictures are my own, but that's just part of the look. They fit in perfectly with what else we have. We are also very fortunate because historically we did quite a lot of trade fairs for which we had to make specific furniture and buy specific antique items. And before having this house, they were in storage. When we bought the house, it meant we already had most of the furniture, which is a huge, huge advantage.
And what would you say for someone who's listening to this? Maybe they're thinking, yeah, I would really love to settle in Italy. I've seen those programs on BBC setting up in Spain or in the countryside of Provence or in the Tuscan countryside. You've done it to an extraordinarily successful level. What is the best part of setting up home? So you now have 2 homes. What's the best part of having this Italian home of your own?
I feel extremely lucky that I can have essentially 2 different lives. I born and brought up in London. I love London. But when we came here, we saw a completely different life. What has been so marvellous is that we can be part of the life here and we can be part of the life in London. And as I can only say, I'm very lucky to be able to do that. The Italians that we've met here are wonderful. The people here are not so touristy in the sense that they haven't given their lives over to tourism. We are part of what happens here, and that's very important to us. I'm a lucky man.
What are the most challenging things about setting up in an entirely new jurisdiction?
Well, we were fortunate because we met a family very, very early on. Bimbi spoke fluent Italian. The family that we met were 3, 1 sister and 2 brothers, 1 architect, 1 pasta maker and 1 winemaker. It sounds sort of silly, but true. And they helped us right from the very beginning. They pointed us in the direction of a geometer, which is an Italian person who is a crossover between a surveyor, estate agent. And we gave ourselves over to him in the sense that he has been our advisor now for 20 years. We would never do anything without his advice. That meant that we were able to sort all the things we needed sorting out comparatively easily. There is a certain bureaucracy in Italy which one has to get round. Everyone knows about that. You've just got to go with it. You know, there's no way around it. But if you've got good advice and you follow good advice, you shouldn't go wrong.
There was a certain serendipity and synchronicity in the way you found this place. How would you say to someone who was thinking, I just want to settle in Italy? Italy's a big place. How to go actually about it?
The problem is trying to sort of advise somebody to do something when oneself, we didn't really have a plan.
Yes.
And we found ourselves somewhere, and then we found ourselves looking at a house, and then we saw a house, and then we bought the house. And then we were in the hands of that decision.
In one sense, would you be saying to people, listen, just actually, if you see somewhere or you have an inkling to go and live in Provence or Italy or wherever, follow your heart or something like that?
Well, I would say so. I mean, without being political, there's quite a few people leaving England at the moment. I could certainly recommend coming here as an alternative. It's a very, very personal thing. Our circumstances were such that we went ahead with quite a brave plan without much thought and have never regretted it. But that is not to say that people could do the opposite. So it's all about one's personal life, the circumstances. Our circumstances were such that we were open.
There was one really interesting project. Sven took us down to the town. You've taken on this palazzo in the centre of the local town, which you're turning into a sort of a home from home that people can timeshare. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, there was a wonderful building in the centre of our local town, which is Carsley, called Palazzo Ricci, and it had been empty for 50 years. We had American friends staying, and they informed us that they were quite keen to buy the palazzo and open up a project of fractional ownership. So quite obviously, as we'd been here for all these years, we were able to contact the owner, deal with all the buying of the project. As we are interior designers and living locally, we were very keen to do the project. And we've been working on that now for nearly 5 years. Ultimately, it's going to be 14 apartments, each with 9 fractional owners. And the reason that we got involved is because we felt, very importantly, that it would be good for the area, it would provide employment, it would put money into our local town, and from our point of view, it can only be beneficial for our area. And the town in general and the mayor and everybody else were very keen to go along with it.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up with Sven. There is an actual opportunity to come and live in this paradise. So I will leave details about that if anybody's interested. And I'm going to keep an eye on that project, which myself and the grandkids found totally fascinating. And the final thing I'm going to ask, has it been worth this new move to Italy while keeping London going, this new adventure?
Well, absolutely. We could have carried on in our life in London. We were working very hard. We have the family in London. We have lots of friends in London. As I say, I'm born and brought up in London, and I love being in London. But we've just opened up this whole new possibility in our lives, which we've taken advantage of, I hope. And it's an ongoing project. The children have come here. The children are now 30s, 40s, but they've been coming here all the time. And in fact, it was very important for me because our youngest daughter, in her late teens, came here with all her friends on her own. So one can also say that people can buy a house and assume that their children would be interested. I now know that my daughter has a history here of her own.
And of course, this is a place which is now home.
Yes, it is now, of course.
And I could speak for the 2 grandkids, Kuba and Maya. We have loved every minute, especially the cats. So with a big meow, we say arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Ciao.